Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be taking a look at this Jango Fett premium format figure by Sideshow Collectibles. You'll get to see a quick unboxing, a brief description of the figure and how to put it together, and a photo gallery. Let's get it open and see how it looks. Okay, as always, I like to start with the packaging. True to form, Sideshow's been sticking with the same paradigm in this regard. It's a format that's worked for them, and I think it'll continue to do so in the future. There's no need to change it at this point, and I actually think it's what Lucasfilm prefers. So, great photography on the front. Gotta give them props for that. There's rarely been a time in my memory when you could ever call out Sideshow for the photography on the packaging. It's always on point, always looks really, really good. And the designers in the graphic arts department have always done a fine job of incorporating into the packaging itself, whether it's the relatively Spartan utilitarian packaging that you see with Star Wars, or the more grandiose, vibrant, dynamic packaging that you'll see with like the Marvel license or the DC license. Okay, putting this thing together, the base is pretty much straightforward. Everything slides on pretty easily. You'll notice the design of the base is something akin to the Camino architecture that you'll see in the earlier portions of Attack of the Clones. So I'm going to assume that the intent is for this to mimic that particular scene, or to evoke that particular scene in the film. One thing I noticed pretty early on was that my key that goes into the keyhole there at the top on the boot was really, really, really tight. So what you're seeing me doing there is in order to avoid what some other collectors have had an issue with, and that's scratching the boot, scratching the paint on the base. As I'm installing the piece, putting it together, I've put a piece of plastic between his right boot and the base itself. You may want to go even a step further and use some really thin, like the packing foam that comes with some of the Sideshow premium format figures. That would be ideal, provide a bit more cushioning and be a bit softer. Now, what you see me doing here, applying force, I don't recommend trying this at home, but if you do, be very, very smart about it. You'll notice that I'm not applying any pressure really high on the thigh. If you do that, then you're likely to actually snap the joint right there at the knee. And I think we can all agree that that's something that none of us really want to do. Once you get it firmly in place, as I have here, and have the key sunk all the way so that the boot is flush with the base, remove the plastic very carefully from the front foot, and then remove all the plastic that's holding the leather, beautiful, by the way, leather holsters to his legs. Once you've got that established, then you can start putting the piece together. The figure comes with two hands, each holding a blaster pistol. Very sleek, very silver, nice paint on those. Reads really, really well both in natural room light as well as under the camera light, the studio light that you see me using here today. After you get the hands put on, I would go ahead and do the helmet. That fits on very easily. Yeah, look at that. Again, look at the paint. Just those various shades of blue that they did on it to go with that costume. The color in the costume, on the fabric on the costume, by the way, is really on point, and I dig it a lot. You'll see here that he comes with two jetpacks. This jetpack that I have installed here is clearly for the aforementioned Camino scene. The one that I'm about to install here, the exclusive version that comes with the exclusive version of the figure, is the backpack that he has when they're on Geonosis. That's the one that malfunctions. That's the one that allows Mace Windu to just kill the hell out of him. Going into 2017, this was clearly my most anticipated statue. It was the one that I had to have. I remember seeing it for the first time in person at Celebration in Orlando, and I stood there and stared at it for a very, very long time. In terms of design, the base is fantastic. I love the elements of it that just look so natural, like something that would actually exist within the Star Wars universe while simultaneously being something new and original. The costume, completely on point. I remember first seeing Jango Fett, the behind-the-scenes photo that was first leaked, or released rather, before the release of Attack of the Clones. I had no idea at the time that it was going to be Boba Fett's father, none of that. I just looked at the costume and thought, that's a bit peculiar. Over time, both while watching the film and after, while learning a little bit more about the character, I really grew to love the design. The colors of the costume really won me over, as did the character himself. I like the more obvious gunslinger nature of Jango as opposed to Boba. The two sidearms, the dual gunslinging bounty hunter in a space opera sort of a setting. Really, really, really won me over. I'll admit that I was a bit concerned initially about the very precarious nature of how he's situated on the base, and I was concerned that it may not actually be able to hold itself together. Having seen how firmly that key fits into the keyhole, my confidence has been restored. I'm really glad that they went that way. It may have been frustrating at first trying to get it into the base, but I think it was a smart play, knowing how the tendency can be for these things to be very easily knocked off even the most stable of settings when they're on a very loose key. Having it with a firm key like that will ensure that the piece stays upright in position for the entirety of its life. Really thrilled with this piece. Glad to have it in my collection. Glad you guys tuned in. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you liked the video, and hope to see you next time. Thanks very much.